Hi, I'm Wendy. We're here from the London Met Business School to report on Thorntons and the chocolate industry in the UK. Now, just to give you an insight on Thorntons, it's one of the UK's leading manufacturer and retailer in chocolate and other confectionery products. It was founded in 1911. Currently, its turnover is over 217 million. It owns 330 stores across the UK and Ireland, and it has 177 stores franchising. Kraft currently has the biggest market share at 33% after its takeover on Cadbury in 2010. And Thornton has 2% of the market share and tie with Lindt, which is one of the least ones. And it actually faces rivalry currently from Hotel Chocolate, which was founded about 20 years ago. Chocolate continues to be eaten by 29% of adults, 81% on a weekly basis. And in the last years, we've seen how the market has grown by 21%. Currently, the sales have reached £3.8 billion in 2011, and the market is expected to grow to £5.25 billion by 2016. I now introduce you to my first guest, one of Thornton's senior managers, Antoinette, who will look at the external factors currently affecting the chocolate industry.
So in the last 5 years, we've seen an increase in input costs due to inflation, but most importantly, to the political unrest in countries such as the Ivory Coast. This has raised major concerns over the supply of cocoa. This has had serious consequences for the industry in the form of inflated cocoa prices. So furthermore, the rise in input costs have forced companies within the industry to either reduce the size of their products in order to prevent the passing on of the price increase to consumers, or maintain the size of the product but reflect this in the price. Either way, this has a negative effect on the consumers.
What is your insight on the UK demographics?
Okay. The population in the UK is growing rapidly, reaching 62.2 million people as a result of British births and immigration. Moreover, this means that there is a growing number of adults consuming chocolate within this sector. This is in the age group 25 to 35, which is also set to grow by another 11%.
You mentioned how the consumption is going to grow. Is there no concerns for health?
Yeah, well, it must be said that the threat of obesity is on the rise, with 53% of the UK population being either overweight or obese. The government has implemented initiatives in order to try and curb these levels. And these are through initiatives such as Change for Life. How it impacts the industry is obviously with these initiatives, it could cause customers to switch to other forms of indulgence.
As part of our external analysis, we looked at Porter's 5 Forces model, which is a measure of industry attractiveness. We're going to identify the key factors of success that businesses need to be profitable within this industry. As part of the model, we identify key factors such as the threat of substitution. This is an important issue within the confectionery industry because it's split up into chocolate and sugar. Sugar is a direct product substitution for chocolate manufacturers because if consumers switch to them, it will affect their sales and ultimately profitability. However, during our research, we looked at the market value for both these sectors, and for chocolate it is £4 billion, whereas sugar is only £1.4 billion. We've identified two key factors for success within this industry. Firstly, it's the low buying power of consumers. Even though the customers in chocolate confectionery are large in volume, they have a low concentration, which means they shop mostly as individuals and they have relatively low resources. What this means for businesses within this industry is three things. Firstly, the large volume of customers has the potential to give these businesses higher profits. Secondly, there's a less likelihood that consumers will come together and lobby for lower prices. And thirdly, there's less likelihood that consumers will open up their individual shops and become direct competitors. Equally, there are high barriers to entry, as large chocolate manufacturers utilise economies of scale. These companies manufacture large volumes and sell to supermarkets or through retail chains, where they can benefit from lower costs through negotiating lower prices with suppliers for raw materials. These savings can be retained as profit or passed on as savings to the actual customer. More importantly, this allows established companies to retaliate to new entrants who try to undercut their prices.
Given the current position of the company, can you tell us a little bit more about the internal analysis in terms of any frameworks that you have in place to assess your business?
Yeah, as far as the internal analysis goes, we use the resource-based theory.
Okay.
We use this with Thorntons as resources and capabilities. This does include the leadership structure as well of the company. We also use the VRIO framework to narrow down such resources as brand name, own shop network, and the highly skilled chocolatiers within the company.
Okay, so you mentioned about leadership. Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Yeah, leadership's just basically, it's important for us as people with expertise and past experience to come into the company and shed a bit more light and experience of what just revive the company and to keep it growing and keep maintaining a solid structure
and keep it innovative. I
Yeah,
guess.
definitely.
Because the brand's been around for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, the brand's been around itself for over 100 years. So obviously this is an asset within the business, and brand loyalty is important within the chocolate and confectionery industry also. It allows the growth of the market share.
So can you tell me any other factors?
Yeah, we've picked up on the company store network. This allows Thorntons to communicate their quality brand name through their own store branding. This is an asset that allows the company to deliver their product, offering a wide range for the customers.
Okay.
Which is important in this sector. The volume of chocolate sales have been increasing.
That's right. Is there anything else?
Lastly, we've identified the high quality of staff that we have that work for the company. They're in the form of the master chocolatier. They are an asset which can deliver value to the business. This will allow us as a company to deliver through high quality and innovative product offerings to the customer, because research has shown that the customers in the industry purchase a variety of chocolates.
Looking at the return on capital employed, it is easy to see from the figures that there's been a huge drop in investor returns since 2008. Looking at the figures, we can see that this is a drop from 13.6% to -2%. What this shows is that Thorntons has had a very, very poor usage of its capital in the past few years. The other key issue that the company has is that it's highly leveraged. From the years 2007 to 2012, there was an increase in the leveraging from 75.7% to 243%. From the year-on-year figures just from last year, that shows a huge increase of 117.7% alone. In the long run, this is going to have adverse effects on the company's ability to pay back the debt on their assets and on the day-to-day running costs of their business. As we can see from both the high levels of leveraging and the poor utilisation of capital, this has been a direct contributor to the drop in their gross profit margin from 49% from 2008 to 44% in 2012, which represents a 5.7% decrease.
Our industry analysis has shown that the vast majority of chocolate is purchased from established brand names because they represent quality and value for money. Thorntons can leverage this fact because one of the key resources is its strength in its brand name. Also, consumers in this industry like to buy different varieties of chocolate. Thorntons can also benefit from this because they have highly skilled chocolate makers who can create new products more frequently as they bring them to market. However, Thorntons is a company that is highly leveraged, which, coupled with the rising input costs within the industry, can reduce margins and have a negative impact on profitability. In an industry that has consecutive years of growth, Thorntons has had a slight decline in its sales volume. This shows that the business is not fully utilising its capabilities as shown by our return on capital employed ratio, and allow other companies to increase their market share as a result.
The government may introduce a VAT tax in an effort to curb obesity in the UK. This will be in the form of a duty that will increase the standard price on chocolate confectionery. This will have a negative impact on business as consumers are put off by higher prices, which will in turn make the industry less profitable for business. An ongoing issue for Thorntons is ethical sourcing. This will impact on the chocolate industry. As stated, Western African countries such as Ghana and the Ivory Coast hold 60% of the world's cocoa supply, often using child labour and subjecting them to appalling working conditions. The other issue for the company is that it's highly geared, which has been seen in their debt to equity ratio from an increase from 75.7% in 2007 to 243.5% in 2012. This has shown a year-on-year increase of a staggering 117.7% from 2011. In the long run, this is going to have an adverse effect on the company's ability to pay the debt on their assets and the day-to-day running costs of their business. The business's poor use of capital and the high leveraging assets has been a direct contributor to the 5.7% drop in their gross profit margin, which was dropped from 2009 to 2012 from 49.7% to 44% respectively. Finally, Thorntons must ensure they increase their rate of capital employed by diversifying their product distribution channels to enter new markets. Thorntons also need to reduce the leveraging on assets to get back to financial health by implementing a store closure strategy.